Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to yet another episode of the Cool Guy Experience. It is currently 12:54 a.m. on a Sunday morning. I hope whenever you guys are watching this, you're having an all
Sunday
right day.
morning.
Never mind. It's Monday. Shit. You see how
It's
the
Monday.
whole sleep deprived aspect kind of plays into this? It's nice.
Bro, my schoolwork better be on.
Bruh. Anyway, we got a few cool topics to talk about. We don't have a guest or anything. It's just me and Eric. Um, and three of these were Eric's idea, and the first idea was mine. It's about drugs. We know you love them.
Bro,
I love them. Eric loves them. Everybody loves drugs. Do drugs. Drugs are
if
cool.
you don't love, yeah, do drugs. That's what the D in DARE stands for. Do.
Do
Do
dis
all,
disregard. Do all
disregard
recreational.
all, no, disregard all rules every time. Just, and then in
Disregard all rules
parentheses,
every time.
yeah. And then in parentheses, when talking about drugs.
When doing drugs. I'm gonna turn off my damn TV. All right. I want to talk about a specific kind of drugs. All right. I want to talk about
Droog.
psychedelics. All right. Now these I find them to be rather interesting. You got things like shrooms or LSD or DMT, all that good stuff. There are many of them. Also, by the way, I do not condone drug use unless it's a cool drug. Just kidding. I don't condone drug use.
Unless
Please.
it's a cool drug
So if you go and
like
shoot up,
AIDS.
yeah, if you go and shoot up heroin and overdose, and then you can't sue me for telling you to try heroin because that's not the
because
intent of what I'm
because
saying.
most of the things that we say on here are jokes.
Um, Not about Dylan being gay. Those aren't jokes.
I said most, all right?
Yeah,
You guys
yeah.
can pick and choose when we're joking. You can
It's
ask
up to
us.
you. No, don't. They just determine it themselves. It's up to them. Um, so, um, you have things like DMT or shrooms.
I'm a virgin
Uh,
when it comes to drugs, so elaborate.
All
And by
right.
virgin, I mean I don't know anything
Well, I'm
about
not
it.
really gonna talk about DMT and that kind. I want to talk about shrooms for right now. They can make you a better person. Now, you may be a little. No. Yeah, I know. That's what I thought first when I heard about this too. But shrooms are not to be used. I mean, you can use them recreationally, but it's a pretty big waste of potential, essentially. And with you can, I know it's kind of weird saying they can make you a better person, but it's true. Because if you go and you take a pretty decent amount, a pretty decent dosage, you can actually have an experience that's commonly referred to as ego death. And this is basically when um, you lose all sense of self. Um, you lose your ego and everything. And it kind of shows you how much of an asshole you can be or how bad of a person you are. And so it can be pretty terrifying because it shows you how you're a bad person, basically, and how you can fix that too. And I know that sounds really, really, really weird, but if you just do the slightest amount of the benefits of psilocybin mushrooms, you'll come across something along the lines of this. Um, and it can literally make you a better person. Like it's like I said, it's kind of scary because you experience ego death. So, it's going to show you how much of a bad person you can be and all that kind of stuff. And it shows you how to fix it. And I think that's kind of cool how something like a substance that is still illegal. I don't know. I mean, in my opinion, if it's not dangerous, why have it be illegal? Like weed was just legalized in Illinois a little while back and many other places.
Hmm.
And they're working on something to legalize it nationwide is on your side. And I think it's
Damn
going to
right.
be, I think it's damn straight. I think it's gonna be I think it's gonna be good if it goes through. It helps so many people, um, and you know, there are benefits to a lot of these things that are illegal. Like I said, I'm not condoning any illegal actions whatsoever. I'm just simply discussing the topic of it. Um, but especially things like magic mushrooms or psilocybin, when it has such a positive effect on you like that, like yeah, it can be scary in the moment, but it's in the long term, it's gonna end up making you a better person. So they're not to be messed around with. And then you have the other things like LSD or acid, and those, I mean, those are the cool ones basically. Like they don't really have, obviously they're gonna boost your creativity and stuff like that, but they can't do stuff like make you a better person. But
So basically, what you're
those are
telling
cool.
me is, if you have a high ego and you're an absolute dick and you know this, take shroom. But if you're not a dick and you want to be an artist, take acid.
I mean, it really depends on, like, you don't have to. There are no prerequisites to doing any of this kind of stuff. You don't have to be addicted to do shrooms. You don't have to want to be an art. You can just be an average Joe who doesn't like painting or anything and just pop acid or,
But it
take
wouldn't
take
hurt.
LSD and just trip balls at a concert or something like that.
If
And
you're a
you'd still have a good
painter,
time.
if you're a painter and you don't know what you're doing, and
I mean,
you need some help,
you need some creative insight, yeah. Take a tab
some
of
creative
acid
boost,
or take some
you know,
LSD or something and just trip.
just slurp it all
Yeah.
up.
And then you have, yeah, like DMT. That's just an experience. Like they're like it doesn't make you
It's a
creative.
DMT
It
experience.
it doesn't make you creative. I mean, I guess it can. Like there are artists that base their paintings and drawings and stuff like that off of what they've seen in the DMT trip, and they are like crazy stuff. But anyway, it's
That should be
more or
the
less.
backdrop for this video is just a DMT painting.
You know what? I'll try to find one when you're talking about one of your subjects, and I'll put it up there. But anyway, yeah, it's more or less just kind of an experience. It doesn't really have any long term effects, and I could be wrong. I haven't done a lot of research on DMT, um, or psychedelics in general, except for like mushrooms. I have done some research on that, but um, it can yeah, it's just more or less of an experience. Like you basically just lay down and shut the fuck up and experience it. So I find that to be pretty cool. And then that's pretty much what I wanted to talk
That's
about. I wanted to talk about cool drugs and stuff.
cool drug.
Cool drugs.
Ignore your dare teacher, boys.
I like weed.
Do all the drugs you can in the shorter period amount of time that you have in
Do heroin.
a
All right. And another thing that I find kind of interesting is that your body actually naturally produces DMT, and really the only time it's released is when you die. Like upon death, or like if you stop breathing and you're suffocating or something like that, you release DMT from your pineal gland. Pineal, I don't know how to pronounce that.
Why do you think that is?
I I don't really know. It's not. No one really knows why. Like there isn't that much. There hasn't been that much research done on it.
You can almost think about it like depending, like unless you die in your sleep or something. If you're dying like a very painful death, maybe you can think of it as like your brain trying to distract you from the fact that you're in so much like hurt. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I get it. Um, I could just imagine someone, bleeding out and staring at the sky, and like, you slowly start to see like colors and shapes and everything form, and then you just fucking die, and that's that. But
That's
I don't think it's like gradually going in. I could be wrong. I think it's just a big burst. Like it's like you're sitting there, you're bleeding out everywhere, and all of a sudden it's just a huge burst of colors and fragments and mirrored objects and like some kaleidoscope effect type deal, and then you just die. But
Yeah.
I find it kind of interesting. It's kind of like your body's like, we're basically dying, so here's one last trip.
Peace out. We
Enjoy it.
gone.
Yeah.
Have fun.
No, yeah.
We out, boy.
Our time here is over.
Yeah. What do you? Okay. All right. We're gonna kind of pick and choose our topics here. We got a couple of topics that kind of relate to what we were just talking about. But what do you think happens when we die?
Um, so personally, I'm not a very religious person. Um,
Nor am I.
I've been raised in a Christian home, all that kind of stuff, but I am not really religious. So personally, I think that it's just I have a really interesting take on death too. I'll say in a second, but I I think it's just release. No feelings. It's just basically the void. And here's my really interesting take on death. All right, and this is I don't know if I've ever talked to you about this personally before, but this is the reason why I don't fear death at all. Obviously I don't want to die, but if it came down to it, I would be like, all right, I guess it's just my time. You know, um,
Hmm.
I'm not saying I want to die. I don't want to die at all. It's just if it came time and I knew I was gonna die, I'd be like, well, it was gonna happen eventually. But this is the reason why I don't necessarily fear death anymore. From a not I'm not necessarily an atheist. Well, I guess I'm sort of an atheist, but I'm open. I'm really open to
Yeah.
anything. But my take on death is you shouldn't fear it. You shouldn't fear the void. You know why?
Why?
You've already experienced it. Think before you were born. You've already been
You
there.
don't remember
Yeah,
crap.
there was just nothing. You don't.
Well,
Yeah.
that's
The
you can
thing
also
is,
think about with that. You can almost think about like a reincarnation type
yeah,
of thing. You know.
that kind of opens doors to reincarnation and stuff like that. But yeah, there's no reason to fear death. There's no reason to fear the void because you've already experienced it. You've already been there. It's just the eventual return to it.
Hmm.
You know?
That's that's a lot about what I've thought of. I've been like just like that you said. Like I'm very open to any ideas that people have,
Yeah.
but it's just a matter of I base my whole judgments off of proof and facts, and I've never really. It's like the whole belief factor of religion. I've never really been like the more I've thought about it, it's just the more it kind of seemed unrealistic.
Yeah, that's kind of how I am too. You're kind of taught to just never really question it and just kind of accept it, you know?
Hmm.
But the more you start to question it, excuse me, the more you start to become suspicious and you start to think, you know, is this, you know,
Is this truly
yeah,
correct?
is this something that is true, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, like, I understand, like, I'm not gonna diss on anyone who has a certain belief system and certain criteria that they live by,
No,
because
yeah.
honestly, I don't really care. I don't really mind that. You can live however you want to. It's just that I've put a lot of thought into this, and that I want to live my life as like as truthfully as possible. And the way I think about that is that I want to judge and take my brain power and what I put my effort into things that I believe in, and that I feel like I could spend my more of my time not worrying about death and what happens on later on in life with my religion and focus on other aspects of my life that I feel like is more important.
Yeah, I threw up an example of like DMT art. Obviously you can't see it now, but you'll be able to see it after the podcast is over and when it's uploaded. I hope I don't get fucking copyrighted for that. All credit goes out to the original artist. But anyway, no, yeah, it's I feel like once you kind of I used to be pretty Christian when I was younger, and then I had a friend who kind of opened me up to the idea and kind of proved a lot of the things that I believed to be wrong, and they were such powerful statements that he essentially converted me to atheism. And now that's truly what I believe, is that it's just the void. But like I said, I'm open. I was an open Christian. I was open to other ideas, and now I'm essentially an open atheist. Um,
Hmm.
but the thing is, I feel like once you have officially made that move from being religious to non-religious, it it really makes you it really makes you it gives you like a sense of freedom, if that makes sense. You can essentially do whatever you want. You can say whatever you want. You don't have to. There's not certain restrictions, religious wise.
Hmm.
Um, you know, and I feel like that gives you freedom to focus on things in your life other than religion. There's not like this big barrier blocking you from doing the things that you want to do. Um,
Yeah.
you can just focus on the things you want to do in your life without having to worry about your afterlife, because essentially there is none. We all end up in the same place, according to atheism and stuff like that.
Hmm. Well, I mean, like the way I thought about it, it's a matter of like I do like some of the things like Christianity. I do like some of the
Oh
things that
my
like as like a
god, I
moral
just
code,
kicked my microphone with my knee. Sorry. Go ahead.
as some of like a moral code that they live by, like some of their morals, I totally believe in.
Yeah.
Like a lot of their like I'll judge most of my opinions off of my morals and what I think is right and wrong. And some of the Christian morals, or most of the Christian morals, I believe are correct, but most of them are just like not. I'm gonna say like a very broad statement, say it like a Bible, but like don't be a dick.
Yeah.
That's pretty obvious. Try, you know, just like try to be a good person when you can. Do do the best that you can for your society as a whole, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just overall, just be a good person. I've always believed in. It's just a matter of, do I believe that there's this all holy that is greater than everyone else around me? Is that's the part that kind of.
Yeah. I get that. Um, but I've kind of thought about, or I used to kind of think about, um, what if like it ends up being one religion? What if you've been dedicating your whole life to one religion and it turns out a different one was right, and you would have to suffer the equivalent of what is hell in Christianity, only with that religion, because
Uh
they were
huh.
right and you didn't believe in the right one. And I mean, there are thousands of religions, so I mean, if there is one, which one is correct? And that's kind of one of the statements that my friend used, um, to kind of convince me a little bit. And it wasn't all just him too. Like, obviously I've questioned it my whole life, or I questioned it a bunch. So
Yeah. And don't get me wrong. Like there are some things like Christianity that are, I think, weird and like pointless.
mhm.
You know, like I feel like you should be able to say what you want, and that's not us.
Yeah.
And honestly, when it comes down to like, I don't know, more people like saying like they can be what they want. I'm all right with that, but I still don't think it's like truly correct.
Right. I
Just
get you.
from like a, I don't know, biological standpoint
Yeah. Yeah, I got
and
you.
like a statistical standpoint. I don't think that's truly correct.
Right. So do you
But
mean
that is
like,
totally a topic.
yeah? Do you mean like when you're little and your parents are like, whatever you want to be, you can be?
No,
Or like, what do you mean by?
I'm talking about like blue on blue, gay. Like when
Oh.
it comes down to like raising children, there are like multiple studies that say that like having a man and a woman in a household, a mom and a dad household, is better for a kid's mental health growing up and is actually proven to be like more successful in their life
Yeah, I got
than
you now.
whenever they have two dads or two moms.
Mm-hmm. And it's not really homophobic. They're just statistics.
That's just what I believed in. And honestly, I don't care if you're gay. You can be gay all you want. That doesn't bother me.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, there are many different things about like the afterlife and stuff
Hmm.
that you could
And
think
what
about.
like what if we picked the wrong religion? You know? What if yeah, like what you said, you spent your whole life studying a specific religion just to be wrong.
Not even just studying, but participating in. You believe this whole
Hmm.
religion. You believe this religion. You abided by its laws and rules and all that kind of stuff your whole life, and then in the end, it turns out a different one was right, and then, you would end up having to suffer the consequences of like equivalent to what is hell with Christianity. Only that religion's kind of a version of that punishment or consequence, and you'd have to deal with that just because you spent your life in the wrong one.
Yeah, that's the part that like I don't know, that I don't really like,
Mm-hmm.
where you get to a point where you're overthinking like when you sit there and you spend your whole life thinking about what's going to happen when you die, I don't feel like you're going to live your life.
Yeah. It's kind of like the whole thing, like trying to live like someone else is the waste of the person you are, or something like that.
Hmm.
I
But
think
at the same
that,
time, there could
I
be
think,
like hardcore
I think,
religious people that say like, I don't care when I'm gonna die because I know I'm going to heaven, and
yeah,
they just don't give a fuck. You
yeah.
know,
I guess that could
that's
be one of the
also
benefits. No, yeah, that was Kurt Cobain that said that. Wanting to be someone else is the waste of the person you are. I love that dude. No homo.
I bet you there is multiple. I understand. I love multiple dudes, but I'm not.
Yeah,
You know, kiss. I mean, you can kiss them. There's nothing wrong with
yeah, I get you.
it. If you kiss the homie, just like one little bitty.
If you don't,
I think.
if you don't kiss the homies goodnight, are y'all really homies?
Are y'all? Yeah, you guys truly friends? You ain't kissing the homie. I mean, come on.
Oh Lord.
But at the same time, when you gotta like when you think about religion, that also makes me think about our other topic. Do you can't tell me like for your hardcore Christians that if God created the whole entire planet, there's no way that he didn't do it a second. You
Yeah.
know, like I feel like he would have done it again.
Well, isn't it like some Bible thing that it's like we were his like experimental race or something like that?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't really know,
Well, we were a
but like
goddamn
if you,
experiment gone wrong if you look at the world now. Holy shit.
what if we were his first try?
Yeah.
He was trying to create like the perfect land, you know,
Yeah.
and
And
he
then he was just kind of
failed
like,
epically.
yeah, he was just kind of like, fuck this shit and left. Just went off somewhere else. Creating Earth 2, you know?
Yeah, like it's a complete replica. Maybe he just got like everything wrong, you know, and
Yeah.
he full out just like rebooted.
It's like he just took notes on what the fuck we did wrong. And he was like, alright, bro, I'm gonna head out. Fuck this
You
shit.
know, like
Left us
imagine
to
like
die.
that. Imagine that was like the that happened. He has a bunch of different lined up and trial and error to create the perfect society. And like
Yeah.
he's taking all the other Earths and making taking note off of like what each Earth is wrong, and
Yeah.
then using that and trying to create like the perfect.
Um, I yeah, I do believe that there could be life on different planets and stuff like that. I am the thing. My great grandma always said like, what makes us think we're the only ones out here? You know,
Mm-hmm.
like there could be millions of different forms of life out there, and we're just constricted to the bounds of our universe. You know,
Yeah,
so I mean,
we
there
don't have
could
like the
be,
technology to go out and try and find some people.
yeah, um, yeah, it's a pretty
Shit is
crazy to think about.
fucking deep.
Um, but yeah, I've always kind of believed in other life out there.
If you okay, now I'm gonna put you in some hypothetical situations. You know,
All right,
so if you were able, let's say you're a god, all right.
all
What
right.
are some things that you would want? Use our Earth as an example. What are some things that you would keep and try to spread around the whole entire planet? What are some things that you would just abolish completely? Now, these can be joking answers. These could be things that like first world problem answers, or these can be actually genuine good answers. That's up to
Um,
like me personally, getting rid of furries. Okay, they're gone.
yeah, fuck furries, dude.
Like I feel like that's everything. Like no matter what political standpoint you are, no matter what you identify as, I think that's one thing that we can all agree upon.
It's kind of like ass guys and tits guys and thigh guys
Like
and
yeah,
everyone else teaming up on
we all
feet
like
guys.
women. You know, we all like women except for feet guys. You
Yeah,
guys are
fuck
just
feet
freaking
guys.
weird.
Yeah.
Those guys are weird. That's what you get rid of
How do
feet
you
guys.
how do you like feet? I just don't understand the the just the physical attractiveness of feet. I don't understand
Like
it.
there's so many different parts of of you know of a woman that you can respect, and you choose the
It's weird.
the stuff that like they stand on all day. It's like, yeah, I want
Stinky.
shit out of you. Mm,
I want to lick your toenails, dude.
fucking feet.
No, but yeah, back to the whole God situation. Um, when you try to think of it genuinely, it's kind of a hard question. It takes time to think about, you know. But I feel
Mm-hmm.
like if now, do you mean like, could we control the the certain aspects of the species and things like that?
You can do whatever you want.
I say you. I mean, I don't know. I feel like if I could create something like a species that would never have conflict against each other and things like that, or I mean, just have infinite renewable resources so they could go on and on and on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know. See, no matter what you try, there is no way to create a perfect world or anything like
Mm-hmm.
that, because eventually you're gonna run out of space unless you put
Whereas,
restriction. You're gonna just, I mean, there's so many things that are gonna go wrong no matter what you do.
mm-hmm.
They're
And
gonna
there's always gonna
advance, they're
be
gonna do all this kind of stuff. There's no
yeah,
matter
they're
what.
gonna advance, and especially when they're like sentient like that, and they can have like cognitive
Mm-hmm.
sense. They can think on their own. There's
Yeah,
no telling what could happen. And
exactly.
that's the
You
beauty.
could.
That's the beauty of having that type of ability to being able to think for yourself and think rationally. That
Yeah.
you can come up with any ideas that you want. You know,
Mm-hmm.
just pull them out of thin air.
I think like I think you know like that's kind of where it makes sense that we could be living in a simulation or something like that. We could, I mean, there could be like these aliens or something, or a higher level of being that are trying to create the perfect society or something like that, and they create all these different simulations for test runs to see how they do, and
Mm-hmm.
obviously, or see which one they could pick or and whatnot, and then create like the perfect world or universe or galaxy or reality or anything.
Whatever the fuck they're
Um,
gonna do.
yeah, through that. And I feel like if we were a test run, we are like F minus. Fuck
Oh,
this
we're
shit.
definitely an
Throwing it
F
in the
minus.
class or throwing it in
Like,
the
you know what?
trash.
I felt like they left us already.
Yeah,
They gone.
they
There's
were
no way they
like,
stuck
yeah.
around for this bullshit.
I feel like the world is just so fucked up. You know,
hmm
I wish we could go back in time where everyone got along and you
Go
don't have
back
like
to the
terrorist
simple old
threats
days.
and school shootings and everything. Just all the violence and hatred in the world is just so gross. We could all.
hmm
I wish. It's one of the most overused and cringy things. But the whole
Sounds like a
term,
white girl's Instagram, right?
yeah, the whole term. No, I mean like the whole term I was born in the wrong generation. It's so
Oh yeah, still
overused and cliche
white girl
and whatnot.
Instagram.
Yeah. But I truly feel like if I could live back in time, I mean, at least just to go so far back as just the 1800s or something like that. Because there's always been war, but now it's just terrible. You have murders you turn on the news and all you hear is just negative. Three people were
That's something I don't
bombed.
like either. Like nobody wants to talk about the good that's
Yeah, I
happened.
know, and
Everyone just talks about the negative.
that situation really applies to like policing and things like that. Because you have
hmm
I watched this video earlier today. It was very hard to watch. And so I follow this guy on YouTube, Donut Operator, and he's an ex-police officer who goes through and like recaps on like LEO involved shootings and all this kind of stuff, and talks about like all this stuff police related. He's a really cool guy. I recommend you check him out if you like police stuff and videos of people getting shot and justice served. It's pretty cool. But I watched this video of these four police officers on December 31st, 2018, I think, or something like that. I think it was 2018. Um, anyway, they showed up at this. It was originally a domestic disturbance call and like a noise complaint, and the dude was having a manic episode, and they were trying to talk to
hmm
him and everything, and he opened the door and just like opened fire and hit all four officers, and they dragged each other down the stairs and like out. They kept shooting at them, so they like relocate, and the one got hit in the chest and bled out and died, and the other three were recovering, and it was the sergeant or the sheriff that narrated the whole video, and it was very very hard to watch. um and just bravery like that. You're getting
hmm
shot at and you're applying aid, and you know they call in a SWAT guy, and they went up there, and the whole time the one officer that was shot that ended up dying was laying there in the doorway, and they put together like a rescue like they went up there and tried to rescue him, but he ended up bleeding out from his wounds, and they went in there and shot the dude and killed him. But I mean, just the brave. It's very heartbreaking to hear stories like
hmm
that in tragedy, especially when it's involved with like a police officer. They go out and risk their lives every day, and I have an argument I want to make about that in just a second. But um, you have stuff like that, and just the bravery. You're getting shot at the whole time, and you're trying to save the officer down, and you're applying first aid to the other officer that's shot and everything, and you're trying to rescue the other one that's still in the doorway, all the while getting shot at by the suspect, that scumbag ass piece of shit that I'm glad is dead.
hmm
And you don't hear anything about that. You don't hear anything about the bravery in the media. Now you get a young black man who was shot and killed by the police, and the world just erupts. That's all there is
Yeah,
on the media.
they don't give the context behind why or how, what led
Nope.
up to it, what happened after.
And
No,
that's
they just
that's
give the very top details about what happened. I
that's
don't understand why people can just sit there and shit on police officers. every fucking day while they go out there and they risk their lives
For the
to
protection of
protect,
those people
yeah,
that shit on them.
to protect your ass.
Yeah,
You're gonna go
exactly.
over there and fucking shit on them.
They're talking about how it's gonna be better without the. Yeah, next time you're getting mugged or shot or your kid gets executed or something like that, I hope you have fun dealing with that by yourself without the police.
Mm-hmm. Especially because these people want to take away your guns too.
Yeah, exactly. No, but
They're over here wanting to take away your guns. They're over
no,
here wanting to take away your police officers. I mean,
yeah, they just want
what do you
complete
expect for
anarchy.
protection?
But anyway, yeah, you don't hear anything about the bravery it takes to save one of your fellow officers while you're getting shot at and you're shot. The dude that
Mm-hmm.
went up there and tried to was applying first aid to another officer that got shot through the right side of his chest and was like bleeding out really bad. And the officer that was applying first aid was shot in the arm and the leg, and he was bleeding everywhere, but he was trying to save his fellow officer, dragging him away with a broken arm because he just got a bullet straight through it. And he's bleeding everywhere, and he doesn't even care. He's trying to save his fellow officer. The amount of I've got chills right now because the amount of guts and bravery
that
takes, and you don't hear jack fucking shit about that.
No.
But as soon as some young kid gets shot for pointing a gun and shooting at the police, it's fucking protest, flip cars, kill people. I mean, it's insane. It's absolutely,
Even if it's like an airsoft
disgusting.
gun, which is even worse.
You don't.
They pointed like an airsoft gun at a police officer.
I saw there was protests a while back, and it was like, there was a big situation behind it, but there was a protest because this young black teenager dude got shot by the police and they killed him, and no one knew the context. But it turns out, a couple minutes before he started pointing the gun at the police, he actually opened fire with an AK-47 and killed like however many innocent people. But you don't hear about that part. You hear about the part how the police officers killed him. But what about the people that man killed before he got killed? They are rooting for these people that go out and commit crime. They talk about, oh yeah, he was a good boy. Was he that good when he looked those people in the faces and killed them? Was he that good then?
Yeah.
Was he a young, respectable man then? When he killed those people, was he? It makes me so pissed off, and I find it so ironic and so hilarious because you have these. There was a video that it angered me, and I found it hilarious as well. There was this group of protesters in the street, and there was this one huge fat. I'm talking like my 600-pound life, bitch. This
Like
fat ass
Ogre
white
from
girl.
Shrek?
Yeah, we're talking bigger than that. And she was out and she was blocking this car from crossing, and they were like, justice for whoever, blah blah blah. And they were like, fuck the police, justice for blah blah blah. And they were blocking the road. And the person was trying to get through because they had to get through. Like it was something was going on, they had to get through. But this fat ass white fucking bitch wouldn't let them through, and so she ended up like hitting her off to the side and took off. And what I found hilarious was that they all started screaming for the police to go after that car that had just hit the protester that was just saying fuck the police. And as soon as one of them got hurt, they were like, oh, we need the police to go, you cops need to go after them. And it's like, but you just contradicted yourself. Are you fucking retarded?
Do it yourself.
Yeah.
You don't like them so much, go do it yourself.
Yeah, deal with it yourself. You don't like the cops so much. God damn it. And another thing that I want to bring up, you have these I don't have anything against professional athletes or anything like that, but you have these people that go out and they toss a ball around for a game or whatever, and they get paid millions and millions of dollars, and they're millionaires. You have people that go out and risk their lives for the protection of folks who they may not even know. Every single day, they go out with the chance of being murdered or shot or killed or, kidnapped or just really anything. And they go out and they risk their lives every single day for the protection of their community, and they get paid jack shit. And I think that is completely, utterly ridiculous. The police officers should be the millionaires living in mansions, not the people that go out and throw a ball around. And I understand they have sponsored and stuff like that.
That's not the pro athlete's fault. That's the entertainment
Yeah, it's the entertainment
because they're gonna
industry.
get they're gonna get their contracts from like their teams, which is
Yeah,
entertainment. And
that's
then they're also gonna get a lot of the money from endorsements as well.
yeah, that's why I said I don't have anything against the pro athletes themselves.
Hmm.
I'm just saying this money should be going to the people that risk their lives every. And I'm not even just saying police, firefighters, paramedics. These people should be
Hmm.
getting all that kind of money, not the people that go out there and play a sport for a living. You know,
Even teachers, not even
if
people
you,
who risk their lives, but educate the youth.
yeah, I mean, even it's kind of sad at this point, but it's true that teachers even risk their lives. You know,
And yeah,
if
and
it
school
if it
shootings,
wasn't, yeah,
definitely.
if it wasn't for
They put themselves first.
one thing that they don't think about is that if it wasn't for teachers, the people, the kids that are growing up wouldn't know anything about the world. So why are we paying these teachers not enough? If they're the
Hmm.
ones that are teaching a whole generation of people how to live and how to grow up and how to be a successful participating member of society.
And
If it wasn't for
especially
teachers,
like
that wouldn't
now,
work.
like whenever we hit high school, we get a bunch of teachers giving their opinions to us and giving like they're kind of treating us like adults now,
Mm-hmm.
which I totally respect. No matter what your opinion is on whatever you're talking about,
Yeah.
when you treat us like adults because we're about to be functioning adults, we're about to be living in a society where we're going to be adults. I respect that,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, like they're teaching us like they teach us more than some people have like father figures. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like some of them can be father figures, some of them can be like main way of insight, and they deserve
You could
way more respect than they're given.
you could have junky parents that don't teach you jack
Hmm.
shit, and then you go to school and you have a teacher there that's gonna teach you how to be a functioning member of society more than your parents ever could while they're back at home shooting
Hmm.
up heroin or doing crack or whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
You have situations like that. And that's why I think that teachers deserve way higher pay and respect as well as the police and first responders in general.
Hmm.
And I feel very strongly about about my opinion on the police and all that kind of stuff because I have a family member. I have multiple family members actually that are in law enforcement, and
Hmm.
I see what happens and the stories they tell me about what they have to deal with on a daily basis, and I just find it astounding, just astonishing how these people are disrespected for the jobs they do. You know?
They always like to talk about check your privilege, and then they don't check their own.
Yeah, it's
Because
absolutely.
even being like a family member of anyone who's in the military or a police officer, like a first responder, that they don't have to they don't have to like sit there and think, is my dad or my mom or my grandpa or my uncle, are they gonna be okay? Are
Hmm.
they gonna come back? Stuff
Yeah,
like that.
I have to,
They don't
and
have to live with that.
one of my family members is uh who's on the police force, actually he works out in East St. Louis. So I sit there every time I think of him, and I think, is he gonna come home from work today to his family?
Hmm.
Is he
Yeah.
gonna be okay? 'Cause all it takes is one moment gone wrong, and gone forever. So I
And
think that
like
they deserve way more respect, especially the people that work in higher pay as well, especially the people that
mhm.
work in places like East St. Louis where crime is just unbelievable. I turn on the news and hear, there was 17 homicides overnight in St. Louis, East St. Louis, and it's like,
And
and to think that my family member works in that and has to be in that environment all the time and doesn't get paid like anything, it's
and
disgusting.
us giving our opinion on this, we're definitely gonna have people thinking to themselves, "Oh, these people are just like they're gonna think no cop is racist." We're not saying that at all. There are
Bootlickers.
definitely racist. There are definitely racist cops out there. No doubt in
Yeah.
my mind. There
No, yeah,
definitely
no,
is.
yeah.
And I feel like
It is a
they should be
fact.
condemned. They should be condemned totally,
Yeah,
indefinitely.
it is
Like,
a it is a it is an absolute fact that there are racist cops. There are cops that go out and police brutality and all that kind of stuff.
mhm,
And there are really bad cops, and and it's the media that focuses on those and brainwashes the general population, into
that
thinking that
yeah, and
those
they
are
make people
all
that all
cops.
cops. That's the
Yeah,
majority. When in all actuality, it's a loud minority.
yeah. It is a
You
very,
know,
very, very,
it's
very, very, very significantly smaller, significantly very small, very much small
and
percentage.
you're just basically classifying a whole group of people in their profession over a couple bad grapes. You know?
Which, when you could think about it, that could be considered discrimination.
Oh, definitely.
Which goes against our very cause. So, I mean,
I like to see how they can contradict themselves on a whole new level every single day. It
yeah,
amazes me.
hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious how much they contradict yourselves.
Like there's like it makes no sense to me. It's like they're just ungrateful.
Yeah, they're very ungrateful. They ungrateful is one of the biggest words you could use to describe these people, because they have these
Hmm.
people that go out. If it wasn't for police, you would probably be dead or robbed or whatever by now. And if
Hmm.
you have,
Unless
it
you
would
just
just be
lived your
even
whole
more.
life inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even then, you're gonna have home invasions and stuff like that. It would just be absolute anarchy without the police and without the government and
Hmm.
without law. Um, and so these people are just extremely ungrateful that they disrespect these people that go out and risk their lives for them, and they don't even know them.
Hmm.
I saw this. I found it hilarious. I saw this video on YouTube one time, and it was this 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 one dude. I mean, lead protester, real anti-police kind of guy, talking about how they're murderers and all that kind of stuff. And I saw the police, his local police department, who he was protesting against, invited him out to do a few situations in which he would, when to shoot and all that kind of stuff. And he went
Yeah.
in with the mindset, like I said, lead protester, super anti-police, hated the police, and he went in with the mindset like, I'm just gonna prove these guys wrong, I'm gonna destroy these cops on camera. And they put him in situations in which the timing and everything, he comes out after the situation and goes, I have completely changed. I think that the reaction time that these police officers are given to try to discern whether or not it's a real weapon, blah 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 blah, the reaction time, blah 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 blah, and he completely just team swapped.
Flip
Yeah,
sides.
he went from being a huge protester guy, and he went through those situations. He was like, I have a whole new level of respect for the police, and stop protesting. And it's like, see, now that you know what it's like to be in their shoes in that situation, now do you think you could give a little bit more
Yeah,
respect?
you have to be on your feet, on your toes, and you got to make moral and great judgment calls to your, that's like moral judgment calls that are like hard on your psyche.
You have to
And
be.
eventually
You
you got to
have.
think, did I make the right decision? And you got to be thinking, are you going to protect your partner? Are you going to be
Yeah.
protecting the innocent lives around you at all times with every decision that you take?
There's so many responsibilities, and it's like, um, I mean, you have to always be ready for anything. Once again, I saw a video. This police officer pulls over this this dude, and he gets out, walks around to the side of the window because he's like off to the side of the road. He thinks his car might be broken down. Does he need some help or what? So the officer gets out, walks up to the right side of his window, and he's like, "Hey, are you all right? Can you roll the window down?" And he's like, "Yeah." He walks around. As he's walking around the back of the SUV, the dude hops out with an AR-15, and the cop comes around the corner, and it was so close proximity. I think he fired off a couple shots and like got scared or something and threw the rifle at the cop, and it all happened in like I'd say under a second. And the cop pulled out his gun and like shot him in the leg or something, and the pussy went up there and started crying up further down the
Hmm.
road. He got down and started crying, and he's like, please don't, please don't. It's like, you just try to fucking kill a cop, you get
Yeah.
you get what you deserve. And I look at it in the reaction time. I saw this one really badass video, really badass. Female officer goes to make sure this dude's all right, because he's like sitting out in the middle of like a dirt road or something like that in the middle of the night. I mean, real badass cop goes up to the window, knocks on it. She's trying to talk to the guy, but he isn't really responding. And the guy pulls out a revolver so fast. I'd say it was less than like zero point 0.5 seconds, like literally like a split second. Pulls out a revolver, fires off a shot. She it barely misses her. She goes around the side. The dude tries to shoot her again, and she, at most badass thing I've ever seen, goes up to the passenger window, pulls out her Glock, and just mag dumps the dude, hitting every single shot and just kills him. And I thought that was one of the most badass things I've ever seen. But but when you look at the video, and I'll send you a link to it after, because it's I think it's a must watch. You can see the reaction time that these police have to discern whether or not it's a real weapon, discern, are they going to shoot me, blah blah blah. 0.5 seconds. She has to decide whether or not to shoot, and it's like you don't.
That's
you don't
the type of time to recognize put this into terms for like sports people. That's the type of time that you get to recognize a 100-mile-per-hour fastball.
Yeah, they think that they have these superpowers to just immediately analyze the situation and be like, oh yeah, I need to do this, blah 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 blah. Obviously, there's going to be mistakes made when you have less than half a second to decide whether or not to shoot or do whatever. They're trying to protect themselves and their fellow officers and everyone around them, their safety, and they're doing the best that they can to do that at all times. But yeah, just the pucker factor, dude. The dude pulls out a gun in like less than half a second. She runs around the side, and he tries to like blow her head off with the revolver, and it just boom, 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 hits every single shot, I think. And it's like, I can't. She's very lucky, by the way, that the dude was like coked up.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I think she would be dead at this time.
Yeah, if she had if that guy had a rational thinking brain at the time, that would have been a very scary situation.
Yeah. Not only do they and it's not like, not only do I think they deserve respect for that, but the trauma that they go through.
Oh yeah, they can get PTSD as much as former military can.
Just as much as or even more. Because
if they make one wrong decision, they have to live with that decision their whole entire life.
Yeah.
The backlash from the decision,
or not even that, just the stuff they've seen. Some of the stuff that my family members have told me, I think about that a lot. And
they don't have to go out every day and see a dead body.
No, yeah. I saw this.
Most people don't see a dead body in their whole entire life. They've seen hundreds.
Yeah. There was this one where this girl, two officers, this girl goes up to the window to try to talk to him. The dude pulls out, I think it was a gun, and points it at her, and she doesn't have enough time to reach for a gun because it's right in her face, point blank. Would have just killed her instantly. And in that split second, she shoves her hands up, and they're wrestling for the gun, and her partner, this guy, comes up, draws his Glock, and he's aiming it at the windshield, and he's like, drop the fucking gun, and he just doesn't do it. He's just trying to wrestle it, and eventually he gets a clear shot, and he pops the dude in the head a couple times. And imagine being the female officer. Not only were you almost just shot, you're wrestling for the gun, and all of a sudden the bullet comes and flies through this dude's head, and you're just covered in his blood.
Yeah,
you literally saw someone's like head just get obliterated right in front of you. And you cannot tell me that you don't deserve respect for going through something like that and having to live with that every single day of your life.
Yeah. Insane. Especially in, like, cities like Seattle or college campuses where you have these hate groups like Antifa.
Mm-hmm.
Like where they'll protest and riot and destroy cities. Imagine being a police officer there where you don't know if you're going to get stabbed. You have to stand there with ballistic shields in your hands, covering off whole city blocks because somebody came to speak in town.
Mm-hmm.
That's
so scary.
That's insane.
Scary.
It's scary. And I don't know, the average person, I don't think, like, majority of people don't have the mental function, I feel like, to go through that every day.
No, yeah, the maturity and the mental condition that is required to do a job
I
like
bet I
that.
bet you that's a good statistic to look up. What's the suicide rate of former police officers?
Oh, I imagine a shit ton. Here,
Oh, I
I'll
bet
I'll
you
look it
it's
up right now.
high
I'll look it up right now.
because I know it's high for former military. So I would assume it'd be high for former police officers because that's something they don't want to take in consideration. They don't want to take into consideration
All right.
the
Well, I
suicide
I
rate more.
just found a study. Um, New study shows police are at highest risk for suicide than any other profession ever.
Hmm. Yeah,
Unbelievable.
that makes a lot of sense.
And the
Ever? Yeah,
yeah, the
makes
world
way too much sense.
yeah, the world is getting worse. The police officer suicide rate more. So not only is it the leading profession of like suicide, but it has more than doubled in 2019.
Wow.
Police officer suicide rate more than doubles line of duty deaths in 2019. Jesus, that's
Yeah, but
that's terrifying.
let's not talk about that.
No,
You
yeah, I was
know,
gonna say, yeah, like they go out and they don't talk about that. They say they talk about how bad these people are, but they don't understand they have
but
to
let's
go
go
through the shit that leads
slander and
them.
destroy the name of this one guy who had to make an impulse decision about a kid that was about to shoot him in the
The
mouth.
thing
Yeah,
is,
let's slander
um,
on him.
but my thing is, not only, I mean, if it turns out to be an airsoft gun and he ended up killing a kid, not only does he have to deal with the mental effect that that's going to have on him for the rest of his life, but he
Hmm.
has to deal with the slander from the public as well. Not
Yeah,
only do you have to deal with the fact that you killed a kid, which, I mean, the circumstances are completely understandable and you shouldn't feel bad about that. You know, you thought your life was at risk. So you made a decision that you thought was to the benefit of you and everyone else around you. So
hmm,
you shouldn't feel bad about that. Obviously, it's you can't really control it, but you shouldn't feel bad about that because you did basically what was right. Because if you wouldn't have shot him and that ended up being a real gun, you would have been dead. So you made the right
yeah,
decision, basically. Um,
hmm,
and um, not only do they have to deal with that mental effect that it's going to have on them for the rest of their lives, but they have to deal with the media and the public just absolutely shitting on them, which I think is absolutely terrible. If you do that to another human being, if you talk bad or just insult another human being who has to have gone through that kind of stuff before, you are an absolute scumbag piece of shit, and I hope
hmm,
you die. It is
yeah.
unbelievable.
Like
I
he
I
basically ran through what hell is.
mhm.
His life is now an eternal hell.
Just hell and back.
You
And
know.
and if you shit on someone that's going through something like that, you are a terrible human being. And I
Hmm.
wish the worst. I hope that something bad happens to you because that's a bad thing to do
That's
to another human
terrible.
being. Jesus Christ. It's an absolutely terrible thing to do to another human being. Just to see them going through that amount of trauma and pain every day and you
Hmm.
still do stuff like that to them. Just disgusting. Just disgusts me, dude.
Yeah,
But
terrible.
no. Like you said, let's not talk about that. Let's talk
No, let's
about
not talk about
how
that.
they
Yeah.
made a decision that could have affected the lives, that could have ended in their death or other people's death.
Hmm.
Instead,
But
they eliminated one other person.
but you got to think about that. That's selfish.
Yeah, that's
They're
selfish.
thinking about only themselves. Uh,
Yeah, and then what if that officer dies and they go out and kill a bunch of more people or a bunch of
hmm,
other officers? You know, would you rather one death or multiple?
yeah.
I understand that family's going to be angry at that police officer, but you have to understand he put that police officer's life at risk. I saw there was a situation where two deputies show up to this woman's house trying to look for her son. She answers the door. She's like, yeah, I'll be right back. And she comes to the door and she opens it again. And the son's coming. Now, keep in mind the mom didn't know this was happening. The son comes up with a shotgun. So this is what happens. Or so here's the layout. So the garage is to the right of the front door, right?
Mm-hmm.
One officer is at the door talking to the mom, and the other one is going around the right side of the house, around the garage, to make sure that nothing's going on. The son walks out, almost blows his mom's head off because he fired it right next to her, hits the officer in the chest. The officer backs up, goes to draw his gun. He gets hit again in the chest, falls over because of the sheer force. And at this time, the other officer around the right side of the building just said, "What the fuck was that?" And he draws his Glock and he's running back around. The kid, I think he was 19, stands over the officer, racks the shotgun, and is about to execute him. He points it at his head because the officer's in shock. He's laying there in pain. He just got shot in the chest with, a shotgun 2 times. So he's
Yeah.
laying there in shock and pain that he's about to die. The kid comes up, stands over his chest, racks it, and aims it at his head. Perfect timing. The officer comes around, shoots, mag dumps the kid. The kid falls over as he shoots it, so it flies right next to his head. He's on, he's in the middle of the air, and the officer just fucking mag dumps him, reloads. I mean, I can't even fathom what would have happened if he wouldn't have been there. If he wouldn't have shot that kid and killed him, that officer would have been dead. His mom could have been dead. The other officer could have been dead. But instead, it was one life.
And then you gotta think, even they had to send reinforcements. Maybe another officer died.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
While they had to send even more people to go get this one guy.
Eventually it ended up being that thankfully, and I very, very thankfully, the officer, I think his vest absorbed most of the guns, and he made a full recovery pretty fast. So, thankfully.
Yeah, thankfully.
I don't use the word miracle very lightly, but, it's a miracle that he didn't die that night. But,
I know we just talked about a very serious topic, and what I'm gonna say sounds very inconsiderate. But imagine if we had the jazz music behind us this whole time.
Oh my god, I can't even imagine. No, but
that would have been kind of funny.
Jesus Christ. No, but yeah, just imagine if that other officer wasn't there. I mean, he would have been executed. He would have been dead. And that this kind of is proof for a shoot situation. Like, you have to shoot. There was up in Canada, I think it was Canada's worst shooting. This dude named, what was his name? Justin Bork was his name. And he loaded up a pump shotgun, I think, and a semi-automatic rifle, hunting rifle. And he came out of his trailer, and he was walking, huge walking path, just walking down the road and everything. And he wanted the attention, so he got all geared up. He had camo pants and a camo overcoat, kind of like one of those longer overcoats, combat boots, and he had these guns attached to slings. He wanted people to call the police, and obviously that's what they did. The first cop that showed up, really young. It was really sad because he was young. I think he was 20, and he pulls up, and he ended up not shooting him, and so instead he got shot and died and bled out. And multiple officers. And the thing is, that department didn't have access to high-powered rifles or anything like that. They only had pistols or handguns.
Oh.
And so, and this dude has a semi-automatic hunt rifle. Not only is it a rifle, but it's a hunting rifle. You can hit shit far with that, and a shotgun.
You can hit him far, and you can hit him hard.
He killed, I think it was 19 officers. He wiped out a bunch of the department.
Yeah.
And
Jesus,
if they would have had a rifle or access to a rifle or something like that, he would have been dead.
Do you know if Canada has the right to bear arms?
I think they do. I'm not.
Well, that would have been a great situation for it.
Well, maybe not. I'm not sure.
I mean, I'm just
But
just saying that would have been a
yeah.
fantastic situation for that.
But by far the most disgusting thing that I heard was when there was a lady out in our front yard when the guy walked by, and she couldn't move because she was in shock. Like it was a what's that called? When you're like so in shock that you can't move. It's like something paralysis.
I know what you're talking about,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I can't think of the word either.
yeah, that term. But anyway, and she was staring at him, and he told her, "Don't worry, I'm not here to kill civilians. I'm only trying to kill police officers." And I mean, why? Why?
Yeah,
He literally told her, "I don't worry. I'm not here to kill people like you. I'm only trying to kill the people that go out here and protect our lives every day."
of
And
course.
it's kind of sad because they ended up not killing the son of a bitch. He's still in prison right now. He's still alive today in prison. At least he's
Wow.
destined to prison, but which I mean,
Honestly,
in
that might
certain
be
ways
worse
could
than
be
death.
worse. Yeah,
Yeah, he's
but
just staring in a cell wall for the
it
rest of his days.
yeah, but I feel like it would have been so much more
It's a matter of, do
satisfying.
you want to do with an eye for an eye approach with it,
Yeah,
or do you want to do, like in some states, actually, I believe Texas, that's more than warrantable for the death penalty.
yeah.
More than warrantable.
No, but anyway, yeah. It just the story would have come to a much more satisfying end if some officer came up behind him and popped him in the back of the head and just killed him.
Hmm.
But people like that deserve the worst
Yeah,
treatment
they deserve to
possible.
rot in prison.
Yeah. But I saw this one and it was really gross, really disgusting that you would do something like this in a church. But and this goes to show how many people and it took place in Texas. So this is an example of why we should have gun laws, Second Amendment rights, and all that kind of stuff. Anyone should be able to carry a gun. Obviously unless you have like mental issues and stuff like that. But
Of course, yeah,
um,
in which we already do background checks for. If you have
yeah,
pre-existing rights to violence or mental problems, you're not allowed to get a gun. But people don't want to talk about that. They want to talk about securing that. They want to
yeah,
talk about upping those when, we already do enough for that.
yeah.
It's just a matter of most of these mass shootings, when it happens to like school shootings, the
They don't
gun
buy them
owner actually,
themselves.
yeah, they don't buy them themselves. Some of them they take them from their parents,
Yeah,
which means the parent is the bad gun owner
yeah.
for keeping it access and accessible for this kid to
Well,
get.
I mean, it's not even that. If you could have a say, I know the code to my dad's gun safe. You
Hmm.
know, I have
But you're not
access.
you're not mentally
Yeah,
crazy.
I'm not mentally unstable. I'm not gonna go and shoot up a school or kill some dude. You know,
Hmm.
if someone broke into my house, I know the code. I have access to a gun if I needed it, or
Yeah.
for hunting stuff. I know the code for the gun safe up at our hunting cabin, obviously. But anyway, yeah, this church dude stands up with a shotgun. I guess he had like a coat that he was hiding it under. Stands up with a shotgun, whips around, blasts one dude and kills him. Whips back around towards the front, shoots another guy and kills him. And because it took place in Texas, 12 people. I think it was
Yeah,
12,
all
12,
without guns.
12 plus people all instantly stood up, pulled out their guns, and killed him.
Yeah,
12 people shot at him.
which is fantastic.
Absolutely.
Which I thought this was a great point, where there was a mass shooting there's a mass shooting in Texas, where it might be the same one you're talking about, where a guy shot up a church and some dude with an AK, I think it was an AK-47, shot him in the mouth because he was killing people at a church. And
Well, I don't think it was.
everyone was talking about, it could be a totally different one than what you're talking about, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
just saying there was one where uh, there was a shooting in Texas, and uh, this guy, I guess, started shooting up a church, and this guy pulled out his AK-47 and shot him.
Yeah.
But you know what all the media who covered that talked about? They
What?
didn't talk about, the local hero. They talked about how they should be stripping away gun rights.
Yeah. If it wouldn't have been for
Where
those gun
where that
rights, he could have killed a
yeah,
bunch of
with
more people.
exactly. They
That
didn't want to
that's
cover that half of the story
that
because
was
that would have helped out
yeah,
the the gun right side.
that was the big point of that church shooting that I just talked about was that
Hmm.
imagine if those people didn't have guns on them. Imagine how many people that would have been imagine how many innocent people would have been slaughtered that day if they didn't
Yeah.
have guns. And it's kind of that kind of relates to the New Zealand shooting that took place um I want to say a couple years ago, a year ago, something like that. Um where they were in that synagogue, I think, or no, mosque. Yeah, it was a mosque because that was like the Muslim church thing.
Oh
And
yeah.
obviously they don't have the gun laws like what we have here in America. And this dude shot up. You know about that? The one in
Hmm.
what was it? Something church, New Zealand. I remember
Yeah, I know.
doing
I
my because back last year for English we had to write those papers for like what was going like bad stuff in the world or something like that, or like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
current events or something like that. And I did mine on the I think it was it Churchill? No, it wasn't Churchill. It was something church. Christchurch, New Zealand. That's what it
Oh
was.
yeah.
Christchurch, New Zealand. And I remember I did my paper on that because people were doing like abortion and shit like that, and I was like,
Hmm.
blah blah blah. But we're not gonna get into abortion on this episode just yet.
Yeah.
Not
We'll do that some other
that's for
time
another time. But
where we get some people on and stuff.
yeah, when we get more political, this is more or less kind of a I don't
This is
even
just
know.
this is just talking
This
about
went from
police officers.
drugs to people dying. But which kind of
We
relate,
start talking
but
about death and we start talking about police officers.
yeah. But anyway, um, and this dude killed a ton of people. New Zealand's worst shooting. He just killed a shit ton of people, and it was like, imagine if those people had access to guns. Imagine how quickly that 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 whole situation would have been shut down. And just a little side note, I think it was gross how PewDiePie got backlash for that because the psychopath. Because do you remember with the whole subscribe to PewDiePie thing? That was a
Yeah.
meme. The psychopath Facebook lived it, and I think it was like he racked his gun and said subscribe to PewDiePie lads, and then walked in there and started killing a bunch of people. And PewDiePie got backlash for that.
Yeah, why would he didn't condone him?
Exactly.
Especially like no,
PewDiePie
I'm
had to
just saying
make a
like
video. PewDiePie had to make a video talking about how he didn't condone that and how that was terrible.
like every single person, like every single popular person, famous person, definitely no doubt has some crazy people who follow them.
Hmm. Yeah.
And no matter who you are, you're gonna get like if you're a certain amount of fame, you're most likely you're gonna have to stay really safe and very secluded
Yeah.
due to people like sneaking into your house. So how he got backlash for a shooting that he wasn't a part of, didn't condone just that person happened to
It's
be a
not.
huge fan of him,
Yeah.
is terrible.
It's not like it's not like how I mean it's not like he was like, if you want to be if you're a true fan of me, go shoot up or do commit
Yeah.
a crime. But it was just this psychopath had this thought process. He literally said, and I quote this: "Subscribe to PewDiePie, lads," and then opened the door and started killing people. And it was like he got backlash for that. It almost kind of reminds me of the whole Columbine situation and how violent video games got backlash for that because
Yeah.
Dylan Klebold and Eric, whatever his fucking last name was, they played violent video games and shot up the school, which was the cause. And it's like,
Dumb boomers.
what the fuck is the correlation there? If you
Hmm.
truly think that video games are to blame for shit like this, there is something wrong with you,
The
because
only people that are going to be affected by violent video games
are people
are
with
people who are mentally
mentally,
deranged.
yeah. If you obviously
Those are the only people.
clearly, if you have a mental disorder, clearly, obviously, a video game. Not even just video games. Videos in general, movies, violent movies, like John
Yeah.
Wick or something like that. That could click you and make you go off. But for the general popular, I've played violent video games my whole goddamn life, and never have I ever one time had any kind of thought of going out and hurting people like that. I've played Grand Theft Autos. I've played Call of Duties.
I've been playing Mortal Kombat since I was 6.
Yeah,
You
Mortal
know,
Kombat. I've
I'm not. I'm
seen,
not a violent person. I've been playing
yeah,
COD since I was 6.
I,
I'm playing a bunch of violent video games from a young age, and I turned out just fine.
yeah,
Maybe I'm stupid. I might
Eric,
be stupid, but I'm not. I'm not gonna go hurt people.
yeah, I've been playing these games since I was in the single digits, and like Eric is one of the closest friends I've had, and I have never seen any kind of violent behavior or anything like that from
No,
video games. And so I find it so absolutely stupid when people blame that kind of stuff for these shootings and whatnot. You're literally doing it's a what's it called? It's a not a slander, but like a smear campaign. It's a smear
oh,
campaign
there you go.
against
Yeah,
video
yeah,
games and
that's
movies and stuff
perfect.
like that. It's just trying to. You can't find some. The thing is, there always has to be something to blame it on. You
They
can't. You
have to have
can't.
an scapegoat.
Yeah, you can't. You can't just say this person had mental disabilities and they went out and shot up a school. No, you have to blame it on something popular like video games to get your little ratings and to get your little viewers and to get your little whatever to get your
Trying to
attention.
get the gray vote right there. That's
Yeah,
what they're doing.
they're trying to point out a common factor. uh it's like this person did something before they went out and shot up a mosque or before they shot
I
up a
think,
school. They
yeah, they're
did
trying to
something.
find a common
Yeah,
interest
they're trying
between
to
all of
find.
these
Yeah,
famous shooters.
they're trying to. No, not even that. They're trying to find a common factor between them and what the common population does. So that would be like this person. This person has skated their whole life before they went and shot up a
Oh,
school.
ban
There are a
skateboards.
lot of people that skate, and therefore,
Especially boomers don't like
yeah,
them. Boomers do not like
and
skateboarding.
therefore, we should ban skateboarding because skateboarding therefore causes school
Causes
shootings,
shootings. Yes,
and it just doesn't
that's
make
exactly
sense.
what they're going to try to do in
I
that situation.
skate,
Video games
dude.
are bad.
It's like it doesn't. I don't know. It's so dumb. Like you can't just leave it at the fact that this person had mental disabilities and something went off. There always has to be something
Like
that
that's something
to
that
blame it
they
on.
want to praise so much is mental disabilities, and that's something that we as a society still don't talk about. Like, sure, we're starting to talk about it more, but we still don't talk about it as much as we should.
Yeah, it's
You
so
know,
dumb.
and having to blame it on video games is not the way to talk about it, an open discussion about it. The way to start talking about mental illness and starting to, treat it is to start suggesting that maybe some of the people that are, causing mass death are, have mental problems.
Exactly. They just always feel the need to blame it on something, and it's so dumb.
But they want to blame it on something popular. Like,
Yeah.
why? Just because you don't like it.
Not even just because they don't like it. They're just trying to find something to scare people with. It's like, oh, if you play video games too long, you're going to end up as a violent person. Because they know that a lot of people exhibited common behaviors, which they had in common with these terrorists,
Mm.
or school shooters, or murderers, or whatever you would like to refer to them as, psychopaths. They just try to find something that they did that a lot of people do, or a certain group of people do, and blame it on that, just to scare people or just to get their ratings and their views. And
Yeah,
it's
that's
like
that's
it's
the
so
worst
gay,
way to
it's so
get
dumb.
political gain, in my opinion, is to scare people.
Yeah, but
You're
the
you're
thing is,
scaring people into voting for you.
no, but
That's
not
what
only
you're doing.
that, but it's these people don't know that it's just a scare factor because they've been so brainwashed by these news medias and everything like that that they think that, oh yeah, I agree, video games make people violent people, or make people violent, because they've been brainwashed and they've been watching them for a long time, and it's like, you're wrong. You're in the wrong.
Yeah,
It's so dumb.
very dumb. We're not even saying this just because it's art culture. Not saying that at all.
No.
I'm saying it because they're wrong and they need to be called out for it. Now, we're not popular enough to be called out, call these people out for it. Sure,
But
we're just
even...
kind of we're just trying to cause discussion about it. We're trying
Yeah.
to out these major news programs for being absolute shams and blaming it on random dumb things that don't need to be blamed on,
Yeah.
that people don't want to talk about.
Yeah, exactly.
They want the simple answer when the true answer is more complex.
Yeah.
Way, way more complex.
Way more complex. All right. I don't know. Wait, how long have we been running for? It's like 3:15.
I think that was no, it's 2:14.
Okay, I'm sorry. It'll be 2:15 in like 30 seconds. I think
I
that
thought you
we
said
had
3. I'm sorry.
I think that we had I could have. I think that we've
That might
had
have been
some
more our most productive episode yet.
yeah, I think so too. That we talked about some pretty good stuff. I think we had a real nice episode. So, Eric, you talked to me earlier about having a word of the day.
Oh, the word of the day.
Yeah.
Give me a second.
Do
Give
you,
me
do
a
you
second. Let me
have
pull up
do
the
you have
word
one?
of the day.
Oh Lord.
Because I'm gonna be totally honest with you. I'm kind of retarded and I don't know how to spell it.
This is Eric. This is gonna be Eric's new segment at the end of every podcast. Is the word of the motherfucking day. That's what it's literally gonna be called. In quotations, the word of the motherfucking day.
The word of the
The
motherfucking day.
MOTHAFUCKIN apostrophe space day. Word of the motherfucking day.
Give me 1 second.
All right. Um, I think we're gonna try to have. Do you want to try to have a guest on next episode, or what? Or maybe the episode after that. Guys, let us know down in the description below, or not in the fucking description, but maybe in the comments. Let us know in the comments below if you guys think we should have a guest on the next episode, or give us some ideas of things to talk about, because that would help us out a lot. That would be really interesting if you guys could leave us some suggestions for things to talk about. Because then we get to talk about the burning subjects and stuff like that you guys want to hear. So be sure to start giving us some suggestions for stuff as well, because that would help out a shit ton. We have trouble coming up with topics as is. Today was probably one of the best. Oh.
Hello?
Yeah.
You back? Wait, what just...
No one can hear you. You cut out.
Oh, great. It's cool.
Yeah. All right. So
so
what's your word of the day?
Word of the day. I don't know how to spell it, but I'm just gonna give it to you. It's a Europhiliac.
Oh no.
Would the class like to guess what Europhiliac means?
Something that has to do with piss, maybe.
Close enough. It's where you deprive erotic pleasure from being treated like a toilet.
That is interesting to say the least.
It's the kinkiest thing I could think
That
of.
is, Jesus Christ. Oh my God. All right. Well, the more you know.
That's what you should be expecting from the word of the day.
Yeah, just retarded shit.
Dumb
like that.
shit.
Well,
Hey. Teammate.
I'm not gonna kink shame you, dude. You do you.
It's fine. Yeah, you do you.
All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, so much for tuning in. I hope you guys, whatever time you may be viewing this, are having a good day. And with that,
remember, get laid, get paid, Gatorade.
Thanks, Eric.
You're welcome.
You, ladies and gentlemen,
Needed to be said.
have a fantastic day.